For what non-zero integer k, is it true that 15 over k over 2k plus 5 over 6 is equal to 15k plus 5 over 2k plus 6? 15k over 2k plus 5 over 6 is equal to 15k plus 5 over 2k plus 6. Okay, let's see here. So the k's cancel on this side, so that just leaves me with 15 over 2 plus 5 over 6. There's not much we can do here. Let's just get a common denominator first. 3, so that's going to be 45 plus 5 over 6. And that's going to be 50 over 6. And that's 15k plus 5, 2k plus 6. Okay, so then we're going to cross multiply here. Let me see if I can reduce this first. Probably 25 and 3. That's about as much as I can do there. Okay, the rest stays the same. Cross multiply now, and we'll get 50k plus 150, and that's 45k plus 15. Okay, so then that will be 5k is minus 135, and then when you divide through by 5, you will get minus 27. My rectangular sign's length is the 6th root of 2005. Its width is the 12th root of 2005. Your rectangular sign's length is the 5th root, and the width is the 20th root of 2005. Interestingly, the area of each of our signs is the nth root of 2005. What is the value of n? So if you have a rectangle and they're saying the length is 2005 to the 1/6 and the width is 2005 to the 1/12, the area is obviously going to be those two multiplied by each other, length times width. So 2005 to the 1/12. Now they're telling us that the area is 2005 to the 1 over n. The printing is so small, you can barely read it. So this obviously is going to be 2005, then we just have to add these guys. That's the basic rules of exponents. So 1 over n is really just 1 over 6 plus 1 over 12. And if you get a common denominator, that's going to be 3 over 12, which is 1 over 4. So that means n is 4. And then you can also verify that to be true with the other rectangle, which has these dimensions. The two imaginary solutions of x minus 1, x minus 2 times x minus 3 is equal to 6 minus 1 times 6 minus 2 times 6 minus 3 satisfy the equation x squared plus k is 0. What is the value of k? X minus 1 times x minus 2 times x minus 3 is equal to, well, that looks to me like 5 times 4 times 3, which is 60. Yeah. Now this part, expand it all and collect like terms, and you'll get x to the power 3 minus 6x squared plus 11x minus 6, and that's equal to 60. Put everything on one side, x to the power 3 minus 6x squared plus 11x minus 66. Now let's do some factoring. X squared, x minus 6 plus 11 times x minus 6, like that. And then x minus 6 times x squared plus 11. Okay, so that either it means that x minus 6 is 0 or x squared plus 11 is 0. Now, what's interesting about this question is that it says imaginary. Because if it did not say imaginary, we can just solve just by inspection. If you just look at that, just by inspection alone, x is 6. And that's, of course, also what you would get from that equation. But they're saying imaginary, and that's why this is where the solution comes from. Now they're saying that it satisfies this, so that means that x squared plus k is 0 is the same as x squared plus 11 is 0. So if you look at these two equations, by inspection you can deduce that k is 11. There are many ways to circumscribe a rectangle R about a 5 by 10 rectangle so that each vertex of the 5 by 10 rectangle is on a different side of R. The diagram shows one such rectangle R of area 110. What is the maximum area of a rectangle R that can be circumscribed about a 5 by 10 rectangle? So they're saying, they give you an example, they're saying that we want to create another scenario. Let me just draw it first. Where you have a 5 by 10 rectangle, and what is the total area? They're saying that this example, the area is 110, but what's the maximum? Is that what they're saying? Yeah, maximum. Okay. So we're going to use trigonometry. I'm going to label that theta. And then this would be 90 minus theta. And this is 90. This would be theta. This, of course, would be 90 minus theta. This would be theta. 90 minus theta there. 90 degrees theta, and so on. Just some basic angle chasing there. And then I'm going to label this A, B, C, D, and then by symmetry, this side would be B, and then that would be A, C, and D. Okay. Now, using that, I guess that we can use this guy. You will get that the sine of theta is B over 5. So B would be equal to 5 sine theta. And in a similar way, the cos of theta would be A over 5. So A is equal to 5 cos theta. And in a very similar way, you can get values for C and D. C would be, what would C be? 10 sine theta. And D would be 10 cos theta. Okay, so then if we were to calculate the area of that whole thing, the area of the big rectangle, it would be 5 cos theta plus 10 sine theta multiplied by 10 cos theta plus 5 sine theta. Okay, let's expand. And did they tell us? No, this is what we're trying to maximize. Okay, so we are trying to figure that out. Okay, let's see here. Let's expand this and we get 50 cos squared theta plus 25 sine theta cos theta plus 100 sine theta cos theta plus 50 sine squared theta. Okay, let's combine these guys. 50 sine squared theta plus cos squared theta, and then 125 sine theta cos theta. Okay, well this guy, that's 1, so this is just 50. And then there's a nice trig identity this will work with. You remember, let's see if I remember, sine 2 theta is what? 2 sine theta cos theta? Yeah, that's one of the more common ones. So that would work well with here. That would basically be 62.5 sine 2 theta, right? Yes. Okay, so we're trying to maximize this. So to try to maximize this, we have to obviously concentrate on this guy. Everything else is already a number. So the sine of 2 theta, or the sine of anything, is between -1 and 1. So the maximum value of sine 2 theta is 1. So to just put that in. There you go, 112. And did they ask you to find the angle? What is the maximum area? So no, they don't ask you for the angle. But just for the sake of, completion, sine 2 theta is equal to 1 when 2 theta is equal to 90 degrees. So theta would be 45, just in case you are wondering what theta is. There are infinitely many positive integers that satisfy a to the power of 3 is equal to b squared. If you represent all solutions in the form a n bn is equal to a n bn, n equals 1, 2, 3, and so on, so that a n increases as n increases, what is the value of the sum b399 over a399, and so on. Okay, so first we will concentrate on this equation. So they're basically saying that you have an a and a b, and they satisfy this equation. And when they do, we will label that as the first one. You got it? And then you'll eventually have the second pair, and then the third pair, and then the fourth pair, and so on down. So I think my guess is there's obviously no way you're going to go to 399 and so on. That would take absolutely forever. So I think we have to look for a pattern. And hopefully we'll find a pattern sooner rather than later. And then we can extrapolate that pattern. Okay. So when n is 1, we're looking for the smallest solutions, and then we'll go on down. So we want a number that's both a perfect square and a perfect cube. Okay, the first one that comes to mind is 1. When b is 1, a is 1, that works. And then bn over an would be 1. Then the next one, let's see here. A number that's both a perfect square and a perfect cube. How about 64? 64 works, right? And is that the next one? I think so. Because that would mean that b is 8 and a is 4. Yeah, does that work? 4 times, yeah. So then the ratio is 8 over 2, which is 8 over 4, which is 2. The next one, so let me just put the number that actually was 1 and then 64. That was what you get when you actually do this. The next one is a little bit more tricky, but it's 729, and that is the equivalent of 9 to the power of 3 and 27 squared. Yeah. So then bn over an, when n is 3, would be 27 over 9, which is 3. So I'm thinking that it just kind of goes up like that. The next one would be 4, the next one would be 5. So that means that this guy would be 399 plus 400 plus 401 plus 402 plus 403, like that. And I think when we add it up, we get 2005, and I'm confident that's the right answer, since 2005 is the year that this contest was held. I mean, it doesn't guarantee it's the right answer, but I'm pretty confident that it is. And it is, actually. I checked already. If n is a positive integer greater than 3, what are the values of n which minimize the value of this expression? So this expression looks to me like this 3 to the power of n, if you put just the number 3 and then multiply it like 3 times 3 times 3 dot 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 3, you can put each 3 below each log. So for example, it would be log 2 to the power of 10 over 3 times log of 3, 10 to the power of 3 dot dot dot, like that. And then at the very, very end, you would get that log of n to the base 10 over 3. But there's one additional one at the very beginning, because remember, you're going only from 2 to n. You're not going from 1 to n. So that's what I would do initially. Then what we have to do is kind of have to discuss this a little bit. Let's discuss this on the side here. Log of something to the base 10. Okay, so that's what I have to concentrate on. Well, let's see. If n is 10, this would be equal to 1. If n is 100, this would be equal to 2. Basic log rules, right? If n is 1,000, this would be 3. And so on. So I can draw some conclusions here. The conclusions I can draw are that the log of something to the base 10 is less than 1 if n is less than 10. Okay. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. But we're dividing by 3 in each one up here. So I really should be concentrating on the log of n to the base 10 over 3. And that would be, first of all, let me see. When would it be equal to 1? When n is 1,000, correct? Yeah. Because then we're just going to take this guy and put it over 3. Okay. And then I believe it would, therefore, if the n to the base 10 over 3 would be less than 1 if n is less than 1,000. And then by the same principle, if n is greater than 1,000, that thing, log of n to the base 10 over 3 would be greater than 1. Okay, so that is very helpful. That is very helpful because now I can take this guy and see what I can do. So let's write out, obviously not all of them, but let's a few of them. Dot, dot, dot. I'm going to get to 999 to the base 10 over 3. And then the log of 1,000 to the base 10 over 3. And so on. Dot, dot, dot. Now watch what happens. This first number, 1 over 3, that's obviously less than 1. This number is less than 1, and we concluded that where? We concluded that, I guess right here. Yeah, right there. This one. Now all of these therefore would be less than 1. This is less than 1, and this is equal to 1. So that means when you take this product, it's all going to get smaller and smaller because you keep multiplying by a number less than 1. And then finally when you get to there, it's unchanged because now you're multiplying by 1. And then when you go to the next one, which would be the log of, I ran out of space, but I'll just squeeze it in here. The next one would be the log of 101 to the base 10 all over 3. That guy is actually greater than 1 according to this. So that would make the product now increase. So in conclusion, for n equals 999, we have the smallest total product. And then for n is equal to 1,000, we have the same product as when n is equal to 999. And then once we get to n equals 1001, then we have a product that would increase. So since we're trying to minimize it, it is of minimum value when it was n equals 999 and when n equals 100, because those values, the product would be the same.